Good evening. This is Political Forum for Wednesday, July 22nd, 2015. We welcome today as our guest Alderman Nicholas Sposato of the 38th Ward, which covers communities such as Portage Park and Dunning. Thank you so much for appearing on Political Forum tonight.
Always a pleasure.
My name is Eileen Kim, and I'm a board member here at CAN TV, and this is a live interactive program brought to you as a community service of CAN TV. We welcome your questions and comments for Alderman Sposato by calling us at 312-738-1060. During the next 25 minutes, we'll try to get to as many of your calls as possible on air. So Alderman, I know that, oops, sorry.
Lot going on in the ward, Eileen. I know what you want to say. So where do you want to start?
Airport noise has been
a
big issue in communities across the northwest side of the city.
Yeah.
I know your ward has been impacted by the new flight patterns and runway configurations. Can you speak a bit about your work within the ward?
Sure.
On that issue?
It's the northwest side and the north side are pretty well impacted. We're doing everything we can about this. We've been several meetings. We had a meeting Monday night with the city and fair. Everybody's trying to resolve this. Basically, what I would like to see done, and I know FAIR would like to see done, and would spread the impact out a little bit. I live in a spot that's pretty much right as far west in the city as you could live. They're right over my house. I don't like it. I know the O'Hare Airport is the economic engine, not only to the city of Chicago, but to the United States. So what I say and what many of the residents say and organizations, we just want to say, let's just spread the impact around. So instead of, 20 planes an hour flying over your house, how about, 5 to 10 planes? So, and that's what we're trying to accomplish. So, but this is a serious, complicated issue. It is a federal issue. It is not a city issue. Everybody's well aware of it. I commend Congressman Quigley. I know he's been working hard for us to try to resolve this. So we are working very hard.
Got it. The city is borrowing up to $1.1 billion to restructure debt and pay down bills. What's your opinion on the borrowing, and is this a good remedy for the city's financial woes?
Well, Eileen, I don't know if it's a good remedy. I did support it. As everybody knows, I did support it. I am not afraid to vote against the mayor on issues, but I didn't have a solution. We needed to figure out a way to pay off this debt, so we borrowed money to pay off money we owe. I know financially it's not the most sound thing you could do, but I or nobody else had any other real solutions other than borrowing money to pay money that we owe. So sometimes you're putting in the spots where not happy about it, but I didn't really have a solution, nor did most of us. But I think under these circumstances, it was the right thing to do, or at least the best thing we could do at this time.
As a reminder to our viewers, you're watching Political Forum, a community service of CAN TV. I'm Eileen Kim, a board member here, and this is a live interactive show. If you have a question for Alderman Sposato, please give us a call at 312-738-1060. So Alderman, you're previously the alderman in the 36th Ward, and after the remap, you became alderman of the 38th. Can you tell us a little bit about...
I kind of earned that alderman of the 38th, so
Gotcha.
I was never ordained like some people may have that opportunity to. So yes, as everybody knows, you have to redraw the maps every 10 years. When they redrew this map, a few individuals, Bob Fioretti, Tony Folks, and myself were totally destroyed. And Bob was totally mapped out of his ward. Tony lost about 75%, and I lost about 80%. So when this remap happened, in a remap year, I had 5 options. There was 4 different wards I could run in, or I could run for mayor. I chose to run in the 38th Ward. It was a decision I took seriously, took for a while, but I felt in order to serve the most amount of people I served my first 4 years, the 38th Ward was my choice because 47% of the 38th Ward was 36th Ward residents. So I did a lot in the area that was added to the 38th or switched to the 38th. So I chose to run there, and as you know, there were 7 people in the race, and I won without being in a runoff, so I was quite happy about that.
Now it looks like we have a caller on the line. And caller, what is your question for the alderman?
Hi, so I'm pretty sure that there's a city council meeting next week, right? And I was just wondering if there's going to be any major issues voted on or anything in particular that we should be watching out for.
I don't believe so. I didn't see anything that's any major. The meeting is next Wednesday. You are correct, but I didn't hear of any real major issues or anything that's any serious concern. That doesn't mean something can't come up from now to next Wednesday. but I think this is a pretty basic meeting with not anything really serious this time. The serious stuff's going to be coming real soon with budget, so that'll be starting in September, October. So.
You're watching Political Forum, a community service of CAN TV. My name is Eileen Kim, and I'm a board member here at CAN TV. This is a live interactive show. If you have a question for Alderman Sposato, please give us a call at 312-738-1060. So Alderman, I know that there's some projects going on in the ward that you're very excited about. Can you talk to us a little bit about the new athletic field that is going up?
Sure. We have a new, it's a multi-purpose field. Some people want to call it a park. There's a great visual of it. So they're building a new multi-purpose field that's going to be used for football, baseball, soccer, and lacrosse. It's also going to have a nice walking track around it for people if they just want to come and walk. $3 million project, great for the community. It's an AstroTurf field. We won't have to worry about rain, baseball games, football games, anything like that. So yeah, I'm looking really forward to it. It's a $3 million project. And hopefully next spring it's ready for use. But yeah, it's a project I'm very happy about. We had several community meetings about it. Most of the community was very supportive of it. There was some issues, some concerns. Some people had valid concerns, but I believe everything is resolved now, and it'll be a great addition to the 38th Ward.
Great. We have another caller on the line. Caller, what's your question for the Alderman?
Hi, I heard a rumor that Chirac was going to be on the agenda for the next council meeting. Could you confirm or deny that?
I have no knowledge of that. I don't know which Chirac would be on the agenda for the council meeting. It's a name that I'm not very happy about. I do believe in freedom of speech, and he could name his movie anything he wants. Certainly not a movie I'll be watching or supporting. But I don't know. We'll see what it's about, but I have no idea what the city council would be saying about somebody having a movie and then somewhat using not a very nice name referring to the city of Chicago. So the city is much better than that, and there are some bad things that happen sometime, but for the most part, it's an awesome city, great city, clean city. So I'm proud to say I lived in the city my whole life. I'm 57 years old, and I lived in the city for 55 years, on the northwest side of the city. So I'm very proud of that, and I could have moved anywhere I wanted, the first 35 years of my life, and I chose to stay where I was. So.
Got it. So the city is implementing its plastic bag ban starting August 1st.
August the 1st.
What's the reason that you're behind it or not behind it?
Well,
what are your constituents saying about it?
I've never supported this. I was against it, and I believe, I'm not positive, this was one of the few things that maybe more people were against on council than usual. Maybe about a dozen people were opposed to it. I just think, my ward is landlocked by the suburbs. If they can't get plastic bags at the local grocery stores they go to or the big box stores, I just think they'll be going across the street into the suburbs. And, I just don't think it's a good thing. I think as store owners have to pay for a different type of bag, they're going to pass the cost on to consumers. A paper bag costs more than a plastic bag. So this was resolved to the best of my knowledge. So now they're still going to be using plastic bags, but they're a much thicker and much more expensive plastic bag. So therefore, that tells me the store owners will possibly be passing the cost on to the consumers. So I think it is almost a backdoor increase on consumers, especially if they're landlocked by the suburbs and they live on the northwest side or the southwest side. So.
As a reminder to our viewers, you're watching Political Forum, a community service of CAN TV. My name is Eileen Kim, and I'm a board member here. This is a live interactive show. If you have a question for Alderman Sposato, please give us a call at 312-738-1060. So Alderman, I know there are a couple events coming up in your ward that you're very excited about. There's one in specific that you wanted to talk about. Can you give us some details?
I appreciate that. I've been looking forward to this event. I am having what I call a Hug a Cop event. So I have not appreciated too well what the vilification, as you might say, of our police officers. I think we have a great police force, and they do a great job day to day. Sometimes they're faced with some tough decisions, and I just decided I want to show appreciation for our officers. So it's kind of an officer appreciation slash hug a cop. So basically, at my office, August the 1st, from 12 o'clock to 3 o'clock, I'm going to have what I call my first or my inaugural hug a cop event. So it's going to be just come on by, greet a police officer, thank them for what they do day to day, protecting us, and give them a little hug, and just move on. I have a couple local businesses that are partnering with me on, discounted food or beverages, and we have the mounted police out there, we have the canines out there, we have classic police cars. So I think it's going to be an awesome event. So to all the listeners out there, I'd really appreciate your support, or not. You're really not supporting me, you're supporting your local police. So if you could come on out, let the guys and gals know we really appreciate them, I would greatly appreciate that. So once again, August the 1st, 12 o'clock to 3 o'clock. At my office, 3821 Harlem.
I believe we have another caller on the line. Caller, what's your question for Alderman Sposato?
Hi, Alderman. I know that the city is experiencing problems financially, and I know that there is an alderman who thought about a corporate income tax as a revenue option, and I just wanted to get your opinion on that.
Yeah, that's been kicked around a lot. The LaSalle Street tax, the corporate income tax, the commuter tax. I know there's all kind of taxes that have been kicked around to try to create a revenue stream. I don't believe anything's etched in stone yet. We need to have a lot of discussions about a lot of things. So, I'm open to anything, but at this point, I'm not really for much. So. But yeah, we need to figure this out. It's a complicated issue, but we do need a new revenue stream. As everybody knows, the city is somewhat busted because of in the past we just kept kicking the can down the road. So now here's the time when we need the money. So we have to figure something out. So I'm pretty much open about hearing all kind of different revenue sources.
Got it. We have another caller on the line. Caller, what's your question for Alderman Sposato?
Okay.
Oh,
Caller
or
changed
not.
their mind.
I'm sorry. So I believe their question had to do with crime on Pensacola Avenue. Or, I'm sorry, did I say that street name correctly?
That
I
is true. There is a
apologize.
street, Pensacola, in my ward. I don't know what they mean by crime on Pensacola. All I could tell you is the 38th ward is one of the safest wards in the city. The Dunning and the Portage areas are two of the safest communities in the city. And don't believe what I say. You could just Google it and check it out. You can check Chicago Magazine. But they are very safe communities. Are they 100% safe? No, they are not. Do we strive for 100% safety? Yes. Is it attainable? I don't know. But, it's every day, where I think we're doing better, and it's a great, safe community, a good place to raise your family. And yes, there is isolated incidences. So what exactly happened on Pensacola, I'm not exactly sure. But, we strive for 100% safety, but, we do our best. But I'm quite pleased that, my ward, the 38th ward, is one of the safest wards in the city.
And as you know, summertime is construction season, and you have multiple projects going on throughout the ward.
Well, Eileen, there's two seasons in Chicago, and I'm sure you know what they are.
Yeah.
And that's winter and construction.
Season.
So right now, yes, we're on a massive construction going on in the ward. We have massive, and I'm sure it's going on all over the place, but it seems to be more so in my ward than in the other ward. But we have all kind of infrastructure being redone for the water mains. We have gas companies been out there on the northeast end of the ward doing all kinds of stuff. So, and just to let the listeners know out there, if you live in the ward, our infrastructure is shot. This stuff needs to be done. We need to try to stop our basements from flooding. We need to try to make sure our houses aren't blowing up because of bad gas lines or something. So it will be an inconvenience for a few months. People have to understand that. But once this is all done, it'll be good to know you will be safe. Your house will be safe from flooding, and we'll be much better off than we are now. Like I said, this is a 100-year-old infrastructure in many areas of the city.
Got it. As a reminder to our viewers, you are watching Political Forum, a community service of CAN TV. My name is Eileen Kim, and I'm a board member here. This is a live interactive show. If you have any questions for Alderman Sposato, please give us a call at 312-738-1060. So Alderman, speaking about construction, I know you have a big project going up on Oak Park Avenue. Can you talk about where it's happening,
Sure.
what you're replacing, and
Yeah, it's Oak Park Avenue again, another major. It's a reconstruction of a street, and as you can see on the visual over there, it's going to look really nice. It's a street that basically was no curbs, no sewers, no lights, no greenage, nothing, and that road just happens to be along the road where that new multi-purpose field is going to be. So we're just basically going from almost a gravel beat-up road with no curbs to really a nice road with some nice bike lanes on there. So it's going to really be a nice road. And anytime you get any improvement in your ward, you're happy about it, and you know it's much needed in that section. In that same section there, we're building I'm not taking credit for it, please don't take that wrong, but a home for veterans. They're building there, so that's under construction. So between the new park and the veterans home, that road will be much improvement, and I'm looking forward to it, and especially looking forward to when they're done with it.
got it. We have another caller on the line. Caller, what's your question for the alderman?
Okay, when good evening to y'all. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, when the alderman said you don't have no crime in his neighborhood, all the aldermen have crime in all their ward, and the crime against they have police do crime, and everybody do crime. Not everybody do crime in a different neighborhood, and all the other alderman ward. And I don't know why he gonna say on the air he don't never have. He talk about his neighborhood don't have crime. Oh yes they do.
Well, I don't believe I ever said my neighborhood doesn't have crime. I said we had very little crime. We strive for zero crime. We're not a crime-free neighborhood. And that's certainly, I could tell you we're not. No, I would never say that. I'm just telling you what periodicals said about, Dunning and Portage, that they're a couple of the safest neighborhoods in the city of Chicago. So, but yes, we do have crime, and we strive for zero crime, but we do have crime. And as every area does, but it's one of the safest wards in the city. And nobody has to believe me. All they have to do is Google it and check it out. Check Chicago Magazine, what they've said about Dunning and Portage Park. So it's a very safe community.
We had another caller who wants to know if you are in favor of a property tax increase.
Well, that's an easy answer to that. That's a no. But I mean, we have some serious issues coming up. We have a lot of bills we have to pay. So I could safely tell you that I don't believe any aldermen are in property of a property tax increase. But whether we're going to have a choice or not, that I don't know. Now, when people talk about a property tax increase, so my biggest fear all along was, property tax increase to what percent? Mm-hmm. You know what? If we're talking about 5%, and they're going to need it to pay pensions and some of our bills, I don't have that much of a problem with it. You're talking 100% property tax increase, then I have a serious problem with it. So I'm hoping that we could find some compromise somewhere, and hopefully, if we do have a property tax increase, there's going to be a minimal tax increase. So, like I say, depending on what the tax increase is going to be, I believe our hands are tied this time. We have much pension debt that we have to pay, and I believe we owe it to these people that earned a pension. We can't just tell them, no, you're not going to get your pension. So I'm just hoping it could be a minimal amount, and I'd be thrilled if it was, less than some of the numbers that have been thrown around out there.
Got it. We have another caller on the line. Caller, what's your question for the alderman?
Yes, good afternoon, Alderman Sposato. My question is fairly simple. I just want to know if you support gambling.
That would be a revenue source that I would consider. Yes, I do. When you say, do I support gambling, I mean I support a casino. So I'm guessing that was your question. But yes,
that was my question.
Okay, yes, I do support a casino. I think it would create jobs. It would create people coming to this town for another thing that they could do. There's many things they could come here for. So maybe rather than going to Vegas or other places, they could come here. I just think we have a lot of good places, a lot of attractions in our city. I think it could be a cash cow for us. I know some people are worried about the wrong people run it and everything, but I believe this could be run right nowadays. This isn't the 50s or the 60s. This could be a real good revenue source for us to help pay our bills, support our schools, our pensions, our police and fire. So I believe, yes, I definitely support a casino in the city of Chicago. Where they're going to put it, I don't know. There's a lot of different aldermen would like it in their areas, and some aldermen are totally opposed to casinos. So I'm just not one of them. I do support a casino to provide us with much needed revenue that we need.
I believe we have another caller on the line. Oh, I'm sorry. I apologize. No caller. Alderman, are there any other issues in your ward that have come up with the new area and the remap addressing
Well,
residents?
I have to
the
tell you,
38 ward
I thought
of
the transition would be much easier.
Mm-hmm.
And it's been a little tougher than I thought. So having 4 years experience, this is basically a new ward now. 53% of it is a new ward. There's much construction going on. And that's been like the main problem, the areas that have all the construction with the gas company and then the water department with their construction. So people want to see improvements, but they don't want to suffer the pains of the improvements for the 3 to 4, maybe even 6 months sometimes. But like we said, our infrastructure is shot. This needs to be done. So hopefully after this year, one good thing about when the construction's done, we get repaved streets out of it, so that helps a lot. So I'm just waiting for this year to be over. But in the past, when I was in the 36th ward, I had the 5th biggest ward in the city. I had 65,000 people in my ward. And due to the remap, 4 of my colleagues turned their backs on the people that they should have been supporting. So that amounted to about 40 to 45,000 people. So I felt it would be terrible if I turned my backs on them also. So when my colleagues turned these backs on these people, we would try to continue to service them from our ward. So once we were going from 100,000 people to 55,000 people, I thought it would be a cakewalk. But it's been a challenging day pretty much every day. So it's been we've been pretty busy. Probably field, well over 100 calls every day. Probably get 30, 40 people coming in the office every day. And that's not counting emails or Facebook messages or things like that. So we are a busy office. Always hope for 4 people in the office, but that's a near impossibility. With the limited staff we have, we do during the summertime because we get a college intern. We do have 4 people in there a lot, but once we lose our college intern, it's going to be back to 3 people. So.
Got it. If you need to reach Alderman Sposato at his office, please give him a call at 773-283-3838. You can also email him at info@aldermansposato.com.
Eileen, can we leave that map up there so
Sure.
I can talk about this a little bit? So people ask me all the time, and they never understand the maps. And I don't understand them myself, how they could cut slivers out, how they could put, why they divide side streets. Very confusing to people. This ward isn't that bad because it's landlocked by the suburbs a lot, but it is divided by side streets. To Oriole, which is the furthest west, it goes to Roscoe. From Oriole to Narragansett, it's divided by Roscoe, which is a side street. And then once you get to Narragansett, it's divided by Warwick, which is a side street. So you had Belmont there, you had Addison there. Those are 2 main streets you could have divided the ward with. So I don't understand why it's done this way. Many of people ask me, if it was up to me, I would never be dividing side streets.
So Alderman, thank you so much for appearing on Political Forum tonight, and thank you, the viewers, for your calls. Our telephone technician tonight was Sylvia. Political Forum is brought to you as a community service of CAN TV. Thank you so much for watching, and good night.
Thank you, Eileen. Always a pleasure, like I said.
Thanks.